What you doing?
How's it going? I'm Michael and this is Budget Bills. My dad and I bring rusty, crusty old cars back to life.
What's happening, Budget Builders, and welcome back to the channel. What's the point in having a fun car like this if you're not driving it? Let's go ahead and jump into this car. Let's do a few more things and get it ready to get out on the road. As you know, we've got this car running pretty well, other than we do need an air cleaner for it and to button up a few things under here. I did throw a battery in it today and this thing fired right up, no problem. Been sitting since our last video up under the carport here. One thing we're gonna need if we want to be able to drive this car around is a fresh gas tank, and we need to do some repair in the trunk area here anyways in these few spots. So what I want to go ahead and do, let's get our filler off and we'll pull all these bolts around the side. I think they're just like self-tapping bolts. They look like 8mm or 3/8. We'll get our drill out here and buzz those out of here, and then let's go ahead and get this filler pulled out. Right back here you've got 4 3/8 bolts that we need to take loose, and then we'll take our hose loose and get that filler pulled out. Now, I need to get up underneath so we can get the sending unit and the fuel line loose. The tank actually looks to be in really good shape. Let's go ahead really quick and pull this sending unit off and see what the tank looks like down on the inside. You just got to take and tap it out off of, let's see, the lock nut here. Alright, that's just not quite getting it ringing enough. Easy peasy. Don't get me wrong, it stinks and it's grimy, but, well, grimy, varnishy, it's really not that bad. Alright, so as you can see, I've done some cleaning up. Realistically, other than some surface rust and a little bit of pitting, everything's super solid here and all the way around, but we do have some rust right here. Thankfully, our whole support all the way around is really solid, so we just need to make a cut right down here to join to, and then come back and come down, and we'll have to peel a little bit and break a little bit off this frame rail. But thankfully this car's super solid underneath, and you can see just how clean the frame rails and everything else really are underneath this car. And so our main need to fix is going to be this area right here, which should be a pretty simple little area. So I've gone ahead, I've got some rust converter and that I'm going to go to hit everything here with. And then we'll get our saw and we'll trim this stuff out so we can start getting new panels put in. Hey y'all, just wanted to take a quick second to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Harry's. Now I'm sure you've heard of Harry's before, and if you're anything like me, you like a nice, clean, fresh shave, but most of the time with the razors that you get out there, it leaves you broken out and kind of sore afterwards. Harry's offers really nice quality razors at an extremely affordable price, and will leave you with that nice clean shave without getting broken out. Harry's is a personal care brand that has reinvented the way you shave, helping you to shave in a premium, hassle-free way. They also support great causes, giving 1% of their global sales to nonprofit organizations that provide mental health care to men in need. Now, what makes Harry's different from other shaving sets you've used in the past, the weighted handle with textured rubber grip. Their flex hinge, which lets the blade follow the contours of your face, and the precision trimmer blade, which allows you to get all the hard-to-reach places. You also have the foaming shaving gel, which is great if you have sensitive skin like I do. And you can get those delivered to you at home. They just released their sharpest ever blades, and they're still the same low price of only $2 each. They would make a great gift idea. The deal Harry's currently has on their trial set is great, and you'll be supporting my channel by signing up. Get your trial set for just $3 when you go to harrys.com. Just a little freehand metal work with a Sharpie, and we've got it in there. All right, as you can see, we got our panel installed. Overall, pretty happy with the outcome. There's a few massage spots that I put in there with a hammer. Doesn't look perfect, but you can hardly tell. Comes out a little more on camera, but it's really not bad looking, especially to be in a trunk. Now, once we did go through and get everything welded in, I ground everything down, and then we hit it with this multi-seam sealer from Crest Industries. I just wanted to give all of our joints, I went back through some of the other spots in the car, and I just want to be sure all of our joints and welds are not going to get any kind of moisture or anything. And once we were done with that, I hit it with a rust reformer sealer, and after everything was all done, I hit it with this honey coat from Crest Industries. Now, this is some really cool stuff. This is some amber rust proofing spray. You don't paint over this, and it fills in really thick into nice in all the grooves and everything. And if you have any kind of pitting or anything like we do on this car, it fills down into that pitting and all pretty nicely and gives us a nice rust-proof finish at the end. All right, with the trunk area cleaned up and that gas tank in, it's time to go ahead and jump into this. What is this thing called again? Hey, what's this thing? A trunk leg. Yeah, a trunk leg. It's a trunk leg. Yeah. A thingamajig that goes on top to cover everything up. It's very rusted out. And see if we can get it cleaned up enough to go back on the car. Obviously, this side is not quite as bad as that other side, so I just want to go ahead and take our little tool here, our diagram, our side angle thing. You're getting me all mixed up. You need to get out of here, woman. I can't think. We're going to get everything cleaned up so we can repair the rust on this side, and then we will jump into that other side and see if we can duplicate what's here. Honestly, the trunk's actually not that bad. It was a common issue on these to rust out like this. Alright, so got it pretty cleaned up. We've got a little pitting up here, but nothing that's actually coming through. If you look here, we've got a couple spots that came through, but everything up here is pretty solid steel. The only reason this side is warped up is because when this side broke, it allowed it to cave in. So I think we're gonna be okay here. What I wanna do is get all of this done first, and then I'll probably use a slide hammer or something to actually pull that back up where it needs to be, but I don't wanna attempt it right now and we may end up ripping stuff apart. So what I'm gonna start here doing is I'm gonna do little sections and go ahead and start replacing. You can see everything around it's really nice and solid. So I just want to start replacing little sections at a time so I can get the shape right and everything that I need. But let's go ahead and get started. All right, with that side done, it's time to jump into this side, and it's obviously in slightly worse shape. So what I want to do to try to keep the biggest issue is losing where this is supposed to be. So what I want to try to do is get this pulled back up where close to where it needs to be, and then let's start replacing sections at a time. That'll also leave us with a good bit of strength back here as well, because realistically it's going to be hard to make this one piece. So what I'm going to do is maybe just do single little pieces, and we'll have to grind all this off and clean it up and just start cutting stuff out and getting fresh in there until we have a nice little piece here again. Done here is run a bolt in. Now I'm going to take this pry bar against this board, get it laid across our framing so we're not, hopefully not going to bend anything. We've at least got to try. It's a lot better. Alright, with everything sealed up and super strong, that thing ain't going anywhere now. We're going to go ahead and hit it with this etch coat from Crest Industries. This will bind to that metal really nicely, and then we'll take a little bit of filler, because as you can see, we've got a couple little grooves left, but being a truck panel, I didn't want to go too crazy with this thing. We mainly just wanted to get it nice and strong, because there's a lot more work in the future that we will have to do to this piece to get it just right. Alright, as you can see, this actually came out better than I thought it would. I had to like cut a piece here, and then I stopped it there, and then I put a little jupe in there, and then I made this little piece just to try to get that curvature there. And obviously I did leave one extra little hole out, but I may go ahead and drill like one hole at the end of everything. Obviously there's a little bit to fill in there. You can see a little bit of stuff going on
I ground down everything pretty smooth, other than there's a little dip here, and then obviously there's a dip right here, so I left a little bit of weld there just so the filler can attach to. But overall, pretty pleased with how it came out. Now, it's not perfect, and it never will be, but pretty pleased with how it came out. It's going to be super strong, and obviously it's the inside of the trunk. The biggest issue with this spot here was how many curves and crazy stuff there are. Without having the specialty tools, I kind of had to piece and patch, and so, you know, it's not perfect, but I'm pretty pleased with how it overall came out. And the fun thing about this, the reason I just opted to do this, is I could have found another trunk. But honestly, the trunks that I have seen have already been all welded and globbed up and patched right here. This was a super common spot to rust out on these trunks. As you can see, the trunk itself has a couple little rough spots there, but it's really not bad shape. It's just because it holds moisture right here, those rusted out, and they were the weak point to break when you were opening and closing your trunk. But now, as far as this trunk goes, we're super strong, we're super sound, we're super solid, and it's time to get it bolted on. Okay, it's fixing to rain. Trunk needs to go back on. Here we go.
What you doing?
Huh?
What you doing?
This thing was adjusted wrong. The latch was adjusted wrong.
Oh, okay.
So I had to open it. All right, with the whatever this floor, with the floor repaired, we're good to go ahead and stick a tank in. I did opt to go ahead and buy a new tank just because that's one of your biggest things you want to be sure you're okay with. You don't want a bunch of rust. That tank had some rust. It wasn't terrible, but the seams were split and it was leaking, and it had been hit on the bottom. And so we want it to just really be right and have a fresh tank in there so we don't have to worry about that. And so we went ahead and ordered one on line. What the?
Yeah.
Okay, so in case you wondered, they had the same tank from 1961 to 1965, other than the Caliente and a station wagon. They used a 21-gallon tank instead of a 16-gallon tank. So I ordered the wrong tank, and that was a $90 tank. The other tank is $350. Sometimes that's what you want to do. That's one of the things that I don't want to slack on. I'd rather spend the money and do it right. It just kind of sucks that I've got an extra tank. So if anybody needs a 60 to 65 Falcon or Comet gas tank, let me know, because I've got an extra one. I'm gonna go ahead and order another tank and we'll get it in. Let's try this again with a new tank. All right, first thing I want to do before installing the tank, we have gone ahead and blown through our fuel line to be sure that we don't have any trash in there and that it flows through well. And it's not terribly rusty, so I think we'll be okay there. Obviously, on the other side, we will put a fuel filter just so we verify we're not going to get any junk there. Now, what I want to go ahead and do is right around the edge, I'm going to use some more of our multi-seam sealer from Crest Industries. And what this is going to do is give us a nice seal there, so it's airtight, and it's going to keep us from having any rattles or anything back here. Now this tank is painted. We probably will hit it with some black. I don't know, looks pretty good in there. All right, so we need to go ahead and install our filler neck. Got a new hose. What I thought was really cool is we save junk like this, but look at these cool new old stock hose clamps. These will look awesome in the car because somebody's gonna come back here and look at the truck. But it's the little details like this that are just fun for me. All right, with our tanking and all, you can see Dad's down here getting our fuel pump removed. Nice. Got a fuel gauge. Quarter tank. Alright, so you will notice we have commandeered the wheels off of this car. We did actually sell this set of wheels. We had another matching set really similar that was to another car that we have, and we were able to sell those for $100 a piece, and that actually went towards a new set of wheels that we ordered. I think you guys will really dig them. I think they'll look really good on this car. Let me show them to you. Here we go, a set of 15x7 Vision Motorsports wheels. Now these are eBay specials. They're about the cheapest ones you can buy. It was like, what, $360 I think for a set of wheels, which is not terrible. I think it'll really give us the look we want on this car. I did have a set of, actually two Cooper Cobra Radial GTs. Now these are 235/60/15s. This is probably about as big as you can possibly consider going in this wheel well. This is a positive 6mm offset. I think it'll give us just the right look, and it'll be just where we need it to be. Now up front we went 15/65/15. Honestly though, the original tire height on this car was 25.7 inches, and these are 26-inch tall tires. Obviously in the rear we've just got quite a bit more girth, and in the front a little bit more girth. What do you think of that? It's very hilarious. We've got a little more meat. I think it'll really look good on this car. We're gonna clean them up really quick and get them slapped on. That's a good tire. I keep because that front tire's flat, it kept just boiling it. As soon as you give it gas, it just smoke it. Now, while we have this rear wheel off, there's no point in not taking the wire brush, knocking off some of the rust, and then taking some of our reformer spray. Let's go ahead and get everything coated nice and black down here. We might hit it with a little semi-gloss protective enamel when we're done with everything and give it a little bit better, cleaner look under there. take it just up the block, and honestly, it's got a little too much meat back here, just as far as tires go. It's fine unless you hit a little bit of a bump, and just the little bit of shimmy from the rear end lets it rub on either side. Now, what we want to do to correct that, I don't really like hacking fender quarters out, especially where they've been pleated on the inside. So what we're going to do is actually roll that pleat in just a little bit, just enough where it doesn't rub anymore. And I think it'll do all right, and that'll actually keep it to, in the future, if you wanted to, you could pull that pleat back down and set it back to factory original. And I think that'll give us the clearance we need to run these big tires. So as you can see, just barely folded it in. I think just enough for us to get by that tire without tampering with any kind of structure on the car.
Alright, trying to hit me with rocks.
Alright y'all, well that'll wrap it up for this episode. I hope y'all enjoyed what we've been doing with the Comet so far. Obviously a good portion of the video was taken a while ago, and then we've just been so consumed with working on that portion and stuff, it kind of got put on the back burner. But with my Yukon blowing up, I need something to drive, and so I want to get this car done, and I want to get our Rabbit pickup truck, the TDI swap, done, so I have a couple things to drive other than that old 66 F350. But let me know what y'all think of those wheels. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Stay safe and healthy out there. Peace out. Catch y'all on the flip side.